Hi, and welcome to the farm. Today we're talking So You've Married a Farmer, Now What with Taryn. Taryn is a mum of three, and living alongside her husband, they farm sheep, cattle, and goats. She'll talk today about her journey from starting in the Gulf of Carpentaria to moving back to the Muttabutta area. She'll talk about her journey along the way, including tips and tricks for having kids there on the farm with them. So join us in today's episode.
Do you want to start composting but want to make it easier, better, and smarter? Monty Monitor, paired with our app Monty Mobile, is a smart composting duo for you. To get started, download the Monty Mobile app on your phone and create your account in just a few easy steps. Connect your Monty Monitor, let the data sync, and see the results of your compost instantly. If you're wanting to take your composting to the next level, head to montycompost.co and reduce your carbon footprint today.
That was a quick shout out from today's supportive link, Monty Composting Co. For 20% off, use the Rural Mum at checkout. Now back to today's episode. Hi, and welcome to the farm. I'm Katja Williams, the Rural Mum, and today we're talking with Taryn. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Katja.
Taryn, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your family, and your farm?
I live with my husband and three children. We have changed our business recently, and were originally we started up in the Gulf of Carpentaria, quite isolated up there, and have recently, well, in the last coming up 5 years now, I think, we have taken over the family block back here around the Muttabutta area. So we're very fortunate to be here. Had lots of different bumps along the way, and we're really happy and settled now. Just with our sheep, cattle, goats operation, and just trying to make hay while the sun shines in a place that's usually pretty drought stricken.
So tell me a little bit about moving to the Gulf of Carpentaria to start with, and what led you there.
Yeah. So that was huge. When I think back on it now, at the time when you're young and things are just forever exciting and you're open to so many challenges. But looking back with an older head now, I think, wow, we were a bit crazy. But this is my husband's family business, and we went into business with his parents at the time and expanded from this home block. We bought a breeding block up in the Gulf. And so prior to that, we'd done different things, fencing, and I'd been jillarooing, and then we spent a couple of years overseas together. And then I had my 21st birthday in Brisbane, straight off the plane back home from England. And they had purchased the block in the Gulf, and we were to move straight up there and start working that. So it was pretty major. I came from some really lovely places in England with a beautiful family who treated me really well, and had very nice things. And we moved to the Gulf to some pretty humble little home without air conditioning or doors, or a bit of a culture shock also in temperature. But so exciting, of course, and it was something that we really put our hearts into, and made the most of the experience up there. Yeah, so we look back on that time really fondly.
I know that no day is the same on the farm, but tell me a little bit about what your days looked like there.
Yeah, up there. So when we first got there, we were just in full swing, trying to make improvements wherever we could. So I was basically my husband's right-hand man. I, did the mustering, did everything outside, holding railway light sleepers while we built coolers in the yards and fencing and everything. And then, of course, came in and fed everybody and, and ran the house as well. I'm really not very good at shed jobs like welding or anything like that, or any machinery. So those days I got to have around the homestead, but most of the time I was out in the paddock with my husband, and that was a really beautiful time that we could sort of work together, and I just loved it. And then of course we got married and had the children, all three of the children up there, which was a huge thing. Again, when you're young and excited, you just want to do everything. The reality sinks in pretty quickly. Like, I don't know, for example, being heavily pregnant and completely flooded in and not have had a checkup for months, and that deciding factor on, do I leave the station or do I just carry on, and all of those sorts of things. It was very, very isolating having children. I only had one neighbour that was 65 kilometres away, who was a beautiful friend and confidant throughout that time, and then another couple about 30 kilometres away, and then everybody else was sort of a lot further than that or inaccessible. So so it was pretty much down to Jeff and I, just getting things done. It was kind of the old school way of doing things. You just have to find your own feet and work things out. And so when I had the kids, it all looked very different.
Yes. Tell me about the changes.
Yeah, big changes. I did struggle a little bit handing over the reins, not knowing what was happening outside. Like, how many cattle did you bring in? And I just wanted to know all the details. But I soon relinquished that, and I'm just someone who forever, my life was about having kids, and being a mum is definitely my number one priority and has been since having my children. So I eventually was able to sort of swap over roles to mainly looking after them. I would bring them out when I could, but I used to stress if I took them down to the yards and they'd breathe in too much dust, and all of those sort of things. So I think, I'll just take them back. Take them. It was too hot, or they get sunburnt, or all of those things. Obviously, when you're the only other person there, you have to make it work. But if we had staff about, I would stay around. And those were busy times when you have little kids. They're a bit older now, but busy days. Just keeping up with all of that life, and not having any shops to go to or friends to catch up with during the day. It's all just on the station on your own.
You mentioned that the house when you first got there was quite humble and it didn't have any doors. So what were the changes you needed to make to the household as well as to the station once you did start having kids there?
Yeah, so it was built years ago, and it was built for airflow. So there was lots of sort of just open passages in the middle of the house or on the top below the roof, and the windows were fibro cut louvers, so a lot of them were broken, and like, it was fine. It was a great house, but when I look back on it, I think, wow, like I would find snakes in my laundry tub, and like there was some nights we just had to sit in darkness because the bugs would just take over the whole house if you had any light on. Some nights we would put our swags in the back of the ute outside because just trying to catch a breeze. And then the mosquitoes would just annoy you so much. You have to put something over your head, and yes, but we're fortunate we found a friend who came out, and as we had our first baby, he sort of built a little bedroom for her that we could keep her safe, and put an air conditioner in there, and then as we had another child, he came back and built another bedroom, and we eventually got the house able to be closed up and air conditioned, and it turned out really lovely in the end. And so yeah, it certainly was yeah, just pretty basic, but it did. You don't really know what you're missing if you don't when you don't have it, kind of thing. So yeah, we were happy there.
And then tell me about the shift back to where you are now.
Yes. So then we lost my husband's mother, sadly, to a brain tumor, whilst we were up in the Gulf, and that kind of was a bit of a snowball, a wake up call. And it was at the time that they were banning live export, and we had a bit of a really rough trot there for a while. Just feeling like the world was against us, and we were able to thankfully get through that period, but we realised we needed to, Jeff's father wanted to retire and move away, and we were to come back, and we wanted to make that a good enough retirement for him, and he's a process that we could all work out and be happy. So succession is definitely a tough road that everyone it's so unique to the rural industry, so unique, and it's so complex. But I think if you can nut some main things out, and my husband's very, very good at negotiating and letting everyone have their say, and wanting others to have what they want as well. So it's definitely easy if you've got some personalities in there that are able to make things work. So we did that, and we moved back here in 2019, and that was crazy different again, just shifting your whole, once you've had your children in a place and in a community, and then you move, it's major, especially to an area that is really established, that does have families that have been here for some time. So Jeff obviously knew everyone he grew up here, and I actually knew quite a few people as well, but we hadn't had anything to do with anyone for 13 years that we were in the Gulf. We'd always come down and muster, or help out with shearing or whatever, but it was just to work usually, and then we would go again. So that I kind of know you, but I kind of don't with everyone. But my favourite thing, of course, has been school, because I think once you've got children, it's so easy to make connections with other people. So our kids do Long Reach School of Distance Education. So they do school at home, but the community that we have in Long Reach is fabulous. Like everyone's in the same boat, and we all get together for clusters and mini schools, and it's not just for the kids. Let me tell you, it's really an important time for mums to get together and work out what's working and what doesn't work in the classroom and at home, and it's vital to being successful, I think. And talking to each other and finding out information and help. It's really lovely community, and that school takes families from a really large area. So we've got friends all over now, and it's really lovely. I really look forward to seeing them. I don't know what I'll do when all of my kids have gone to boarding school. It'll be devastating. That's a whole another world that I'm just dipping my toes into.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Taryn, you've gone through 3 big changes in your role and the farm that and on station that you've been on. So can you tell me some of the key challenges that you came up against that you were then able to overcome, or something that surprised you?
Yeah, I think it's challenging knowing where you stand and what your roles are. I think that just takes time to sort of nut out, not just in your relationship itself, but if you're in a family business with the other members, um, it just takes some time to work out, where you fit in, and being okay with accepting where your place is. We kind of live a traditional lifestyle. I mean, I am in charge of the children and the housework and the cooking, and my husband does all the outside work. Of course, I'm there at the drop of a hat when he needs me as well. But I'm okay with that. I'm all for all of this new women's rights, and I absolutely, go for it. But it's also okay. I enjoy playing house and being a housewife, and obviously, I sometimes I need to get out. My husband will recognise that, and he said, "Let's go for a lick run. Come on, let's go." But yeah, just learning those sort of things, learning who you are and where you fit in the business is a challenge. But once you find your place, you kind of are accepting and able to move through challenges, I guess.
And have you found that's come with time and communication, or would you say there's more layers to being okay with where you are, and you're finding your position in the business?
Yeah, there are so many layers. Definitely time, but also finding other women that you connect with and are in similar situations, is always great. Talking to other people, and you just work out that this is okay. I'm okay with this. And I think that's something everybody does, isn't it, in their lives? They get to a point where they think, you know what, I'm happy here. There's you have to be grateful for what you have, and not always be wanting more. I mean, you always, it's kind of just a nice feeling to think this is great. I love my family and my husband and the way we work together. So yeah, it's kind of that. It's not every day, trust me.
Absolutely.
But yes.
And so how do you and the kids get around the farm? Do they all have bikes now? Do you all take a side by side? How do you manage getting to and from?
Yeah. So my daughter has just done her first year at boarding school, so that's a new challenge in itself. But she's away now most of the year, and I have, our everyday is with the two boys, and they are just turned 8 and 9, and very, very independent, very handy little fellows. They definitely have their own motorbikes, and they use them for work, but they also, they say, "Mum, we're going down to the creek," so they go and put yabby pots in, and they have fabulous, fabulous life, and that great mix of giving them enough of their own responsibilities, free rein, and just enough, come back pull kind of on them. So they're really great little fellows, and they're just so keen to learn. So yeah, we do take them when we can out. Usually that is on their own bikes now, but we do have a side by side too, to go out and do different things. And they've also got their own little they call it a shooting car, and they collect the mail, and they love to be independent and on their own and feel grown up. And yeah, and then they're into their sport, which is amazing. So we're very often busy traveling a long way to do that as well.
Yeah. Taryn, when you first moved to the Gulf or back onto the family farm, was there a piece of advice anyone gave you that really resonated with you?
Yeah. I remember my auntie saying to me before I moved out, like everyone was sort of trying to scare me. There's no power out there, and there's this and there's that, and and I was all keen for it. My auntie said to me, you're not just going to marry him. You marry the place as well. And that's something that I've always thought, no, that is true. And a lot of the time you don't come first in the relationship. Sometimes the land does. And yeah, so learning that selflessness, and in my husband's life, his animals are really important to him. He teaches our kids, you feed them all before you feed yourself. So that's you do just have to learn that it's not just the person you're marrying. It is really a whole lifestyle that you're adopting and everything. I wasn't from the land originally. I'd had plenty to do with it over my years, but not I wasn't raised on the land. So yeah, that really was something that I guess you do need to know. Yeah.
How did you find that adjustment period? How did you make sure that you were okay with that, in the long term?
Well, look, I'm really fortunate, Katja, that I was spoilt growing up with so much love, and I don't know, just this lovely upbringing that I had from my parents, that I don't know, they just instilled in me that you can do anything, and so long as you do have support and love from people. And so I kind of never really questioned that I wouldn't be able to do it, because yeah, I've always had that support and strength to know that I'd be able to get through whatever it was.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. I'm so glad. Yeah, that comes to the end of my official questions for today. Was there any other advice, tips, tricks, hacks, or stories you'd like to share to the rural mum community for anyone who is moving to the farm for the first time or back to the farm?
Is if you are making that big move, just put your whole heart into it, and it's so rewarding when you just love it as much as everyone else around you, because there's absolutely no place I'd rather be than here on the land with my family. So throw everything at it, do your best, and the rewards will come your way.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on today. We've had a fantastic chat, and I know that the community will come away with some fantastic ideas, tips, tricks from your stories that they'll be able to implement into their own farm and station journey. So thank you so much.